Power. Deception. Survival. In 1513, Niccolò Machiavelli wrote a book that shattered illusions and exposed the raw mechanics of leadership, The Prince. This was no idealistic vision, it was a ruthless manual for rulers on how to win, hold, and wield authority, even if it meant bending morality itself. Centuries later, it still stands as one of the most controversial and provocative guides to power ever written. Let's start with the summary of introduction from the book, The Prince. Some of you may question why a spiritual media portal would publish a book summary on political philosophy and leadership. Our goal is straightforward: grasping political philosophy is essential for understanding and obtaining power. Competent and wise leaders must gain power, otherwise, unaware and ignorant individuals may rise to power and inflict significant harm on the world. The Prince, Navigating Power and Politics. Necessity and inevitability are central themes in The Prince, reflecting notions of success and failure, all interconnected by an unbreakable chain of cause and effect. Survival is the top priority, anything else is a luxury. Niccolò Machiavelli, a diplomat on the verge of ruin, wrote this work after losing his position and suffering imprisonment under a new regime. Once influential, he experienced a dramatic reversal, retreating to a small farm. There, amidst bitterness and idleness, he began writing about power, how to acquire and maintain it while avoiding the traps of circumstance. This resulted in a controversial work that has resonated through the centuries. Born in Florence in 1469, the same year Lorenzo de' Medici came to power, Machiavelli was the first son after two daughters. He was close to his father, a former lawyer with connections but little influence, and relied on his own cleverness to rise in the world. His brother Toto chose the priesthood, while their devout mother composed religious poems. Machiavelli, however, shared his father's skepticism and interest in classical ideas. Although Florence was a republic, it was manipulated by the Medici family, who maintained control through electoral manipulation, effectively creating a dictatorship. Machiavelli grew up amidst this political duplicity, witnessing events like the Pazzi conspiracy, which highlighted the stark contrast between Florence's democratic ideals and its reality. The young Machiavelli would have quickly grasped the harsh realities of political errors, witnessing the intertwining of religion and politics. The Pope's involvement in the Pazzi conspiracy. The Pazzi conspiracy was a failed attempt by the Pazzi family and allies to overthrow the Medici family, who ruled Renaissance Florence. The Medici, a powerful political and banking dynasty, transformed Florence into a Renaissance art and culture center. Lorenzo de' Medici's subsequent excommunication highlighted religion as a political tool. Lorenzo di Piero de' Medici was an Italian statesman, leader of the Florentine Republic, and a key patron of Renaissance culture in Italy. Religion is sacred, but when it becomes entangled in politics, it diminishes in value. War jeopardizes psychological security and brings the people of a nation together, yet internal adversaries persist in aiding external enemies. The conflict between Florence and Rome only ended when Turkish threats unified the Italian peninsula in 1480. Lorenzo's later favor with a new pope, resulting in his son becoming a cardinal at 13, highlighted the power of wealth and negotiation over faith. By the time Machiavelli was 21, he had observed the rise of Girolamo Savonarola, whose strict Christianity clashed with a corrupt papacy. Savonarola's fundamentalism called for a return to biblical authority and denounced the moral decay of Florence, predicting foreign invasion as divine retribution, a prophecy realized in 1494. Understanding Machiavelli's diplomatic career and the reference in The Prince requires a grasp of Italy's complex political geography in the 15th and early 16th centuries. marked by profound changes in the 1490s that shaped Italy's fate for 350 years. The peninsula was dominated by 5 major powers: the Kingdom of Naples, the Papal States, Florence, Venice, and Milan. Naples was the largest, while Florence was the smallest and weakest, with all 5 fiercely competing for territory. Venice sought expansion in the northern Italian plain and the Adriatic coast, while Milan aimed for gains south and west to counterbalance France. Florence sought to grow by any means, capturing Arezzo, Pisa, and Cortona, but failing with Lucca. Rome, under any pope, aimed to expand into Romagna and Emilia, clashing with Venice and Florence. In the south, Naples was governed by the House of Aragon, contested by the Angevin kings of France and the Spanish royal family. The landscape included numerous smaller states, constantly threatened by invasion. A balance of power persisted for over a century, with alliances forming to counter any significant military victory. This balance ended with the French invasion of 1494, which Machiavelli attributes to the Italians' own fault. The 5 states had long used the threat of foreign intervention against each other, inviting foreign claims and troops to settle their disputes. The political history of Italy is significant, as it influenced Machiavelli's perspective, ultimately resulting in the creation of the book The Prince. Inviting foreign powers to settle domestic political disputes demonstrates a clear lack of expertise in statecraft and diplomacy. In 1494, King Charles VIII of France acted on his claim to the crown of Naples, leading an army into Italy, which marked the beginning of centuries of foreign intervention on the peninsula. As the French struggled to control Naples, they invited the Spanish to share the kingdom, leading to Spanish dominance over Italy for 150 years after Charles I of Spain inherited the Holy Roman Empire crown. When the French marched through Lombardy, Florence was in their path. The Medici, under the ineffective Piero, surrendered to Charles, sparking a Florentine rebellion and the rise of Girolamo Savonarola, who turned Florence into a theocratic state. Savonarola was executed for heresy, belief or opinion contrary to orthodox religious, especially Christian, doctrine, in 1498. In the wake of these events, Niccolò Machiavelli, at just 28, was elected to significant governmental roles in Florence, despite his lack of known experience. Over the next 14 years, he undertook numerous diplomatic missions, representing Florence's interests across Europe. Niccolò Machiavelli was deeply involved in Florence's attempts to reclaim Pisa, a key to its commercial success, during a tumultuous period marked by foreign invasions. Despite being viewed merely as a source for his later writings, Machiavelli saw himself as Florence's foremost diplomat, representing a vulnerable state amidst powerful neighbors like France, Spain, the Holy Roman Empire, and Switzerland. His diplomatic efforts were often stymied by Florence's indecisive leadership under Piero Soderini and a lack of military strength, relying on unreliable mercenaries. This frustration fueled Machiavelli's advocacy for a citizen army, a theme central to The Prince. Machiavelli's encounters with Cesare Borgia, a formidable leader supported by Pope Alexander VI, left a profound impression on him. Borgia's decisive, ruthless action starkly contrasted with Florence's leadership. Machiavelli admired Borgia's ability to act decisively, a quality he found lacking in his own city. The collapse of Borgia's power after his and his father's illness highlighted the volatility of the era. Machiavelli's experiences with the papal army under Pope Julius further illustrated the coercive power wielded by strong leadership, forcing Florence into unwanted alliances and conflicts. These experiences shaped Machiavelli's views on power, leadership, and the necessity of decisive action. Machiavelli's brief moment of triumph as Secretary of the Ten of War came in 1509 when the citizen army he advocated for successfully captured Pisa, proving the superiority of citizen forces over mercenaries. Yet, Florence's independence soon crumbled, leading to the Medici's return and Machiavelli's fall from grace. His work, originally titled On Principalities, evolved into the infamous The Prince, a treatise that unapologetically explores the harsh realities of power. Machiavelli argues that political leaders often must operate outside moral norms to secure and maintain authority, a notion illustrated through historical examples of ruthless tactics. The narrative reaches its peak with Cesare Borgia, whose calculated brutality serves as a model for aspiring rulers. Machiavelli's fascination with Borgia's unrestrained pursuit of power marks a shift from a systematic analysis of governance to an intense examination of the leader's psyche, untethered from ethical constraints. This transformation reflects Machiavelli's own experiences with power, revealing a deep-seated envy and a recognition of the brutal necessities faced by those who wield it. Machiavelli, released from prison in 1513, initially dedicated The Prince to Giuliano de' Medici, but shifted to his nephew Lorenzo after political changes in Florence. The work aimed to demonstrate Machiavelli's political acumen, yet its candidness was unlikely to appeal to Lorenzo or any ruler who valued appearances over honesty. The failure of the book The Prince led Machiavelli to focus on writing comedies, achieving success with plays like The Mandragola. Despite Machiavelli's desire for political involvement, his career faced setbacks, culminating in his death in 1527. Ironically, it was the Protestant Reformation and subsequent religious wars that vilified and popularized Machiavelli's name. The Prince, published posthumously, was banned by Pope Paul IV, yet its ideas spread, often misrepresented by critics like Innocent Gentlet, who linked Machiavelli to Catherine de' Medici and anti-Italian sentiment during the French religious conflicts. Machiavelli's work highlighted the tension between Christian ethics and effective political leadership, suggesting that they were sometimes incompatible. This perspective contributed to his notoriety, as critics accused him of promoting immoral politics. Yet, some viewed The Prince as a critique of power, revealing its true nature to the people. The enduring fascination with Machiavelli's ideas is evident in their influence on literature and politics, with interpretations ranging from Rousseau's view of the book as a Republican manifesto to Mussolini's endorsement as a practical guide for statesmen. Regardless of interpretation, The Prince challenges readers to reconsider the ethical dimensions of political power, leaving a lasting impact on how leaders are perceived. Although your decisions shouldn't be based on the circumstances with which you live, but they still continue to have enormous influence on your perception of the reality and personality, ultimately. In the coming part, we deeply delve into the Part 1, Letter to Lorenzo de' Medici, and Chapter 1, Different Kinds of States and How to Conquer Them. Tell us what you feel about this video. If you like the video, please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss the coming episodes. We post several times a week on various topics. Please check out our playlists. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.